Hi, I'm Rachel Sheldrick from the Workshop Whisperer, and welcome to our special YouTube training for this week. This week, I really want to talk to you about holding performance reviews, or as we like to call them in our engine room program, feedback forums. So this training today is going to share with you 3 tips, 3 things you must do in order to successfully conduct a feedback forum. Now make sure you stay right until the end of the training, where I'm actually going to give you a link so that you can download our custom-made feedback forum template. Okay, so today I'm promising you that I'll share with you 3 tips to help you conduct feedback forums that are far more productive than you have ever conducted before. Why? Well, there's a couple of key things around the feedback forum itself, and it's those that I want to share with you first of all. So let's get cracking. So the first of those things is about releasing the fear surrounding a feedback forum. There's even a reason why we call it a feedback forum and not a performance review, which is probably what you're used to calling it. You may have had them back when you were an employee somewhere. You certainly would have a general idea of what they're all about. If we call these connections with our team members a performance review, that instantly instills some kind of negative connotation or fear in our team member, and that is not what we want. Now, in essence, what we want to get from our team member is feedback, and we want to put in place a process that means that every 3 months we are connecting with our team member in this way in order to get feedback from them. So that's the first thing. We really want to get rid of the fear around what is essentially a performance review by calling it a feedback forum. The next thing we want to make sure of is that our team members know that this is a system that we are putting in place that is for them, and we are going to be doing it on a regular basis. This is not another one of those systems that you want to say that you're implementing into your auto repair shop that you then don't follow through with after the first one. So your team members watch you to see how busy you get, how tired you get, how quickly you forget about the things you said you were going to do, and implementing the feedback forum process and system will be no different. So make sure that when you implement this one, it sticks, and that your team members know to expect a feedback forum once per quarter. Why every 3 months? Well, waiting 6 months or yearly is too long. So much can happen for a team member to a team member in a 3-month period even. We definitely don't want to leave it any later than that. So we want to implement in this system a process where the team member gets to score themselves against a set of criteria, and then they hand that document back with their scores to you, where you then score them against the same criteria. That's a really important part of this feedback forum process. Now, make sure you stay till the end, as I said, because I am actually going to give you that resource that I normally reserve exclusively for my engine room members, but there is such confusion around how to do this process properly that I want you to have a copy as well. So we need to make sure that the team member fills that out and you fill it out before we get to the actual day of the feedback forum. So you need about even up to a week beforehand to give this feedback forum template to your team member so that they can fill it out. Be really clear with the length of time that you're going to give them to fill it in and what day it must be back, giving you enough time to score them as well. Then when we get to the day of the feedback forum, it's really important that your language that you use with your team member is intentional. So a feedback forum is not a place for you to sit down and go to town on, what your team member's done wrong, all of the little nitpicky things that you can see with them. it's an opportunity for you to sit down and do the following. Now, Mike, your team member, we'll call him, you can say things like, to start with, thanks for coming and joining me in this feedback forum. Let's start off by giving some feedback on how you feel about your role. How do you feel like you're going in your role as light vehicle mechanic or second year apprentice or service advisor or office manager, whatever the role is? So how do you feel you're going? Do you think that we've seen the best of you yet? And depending on their answer, you can go down that path. If you've got a few concerns about this team member and they say, yep, you've seen the best of me, then that's obviously going to be an area that you can chat about a little bit later in the feedback forum, because if that's their best and their best is not up to your standard, then you are going to want to implement some type of performance improvement program with them. But we also want to know things in our feedback forum about what their goals are in your workplace and in their life in general. So ask them questions about, what are you working towards personally? Is there something that we can help you do in order to achieve that goal? Now, the goals that they talk about might be work related. So, they're looking forward to owning their own workshop one day or becoming the manager of yours. Or they might be life goals. I want to save up money for a deposit for a house. So really investigate with your team member what it is that you can do as a business in order to help them get there. Why do you want to help them get to their goals? Because if they believe that they're in a place that is pro them achieving their goals and they can see a pathway laid out for them with your help in order to achieve those goals, they are more likely to be loyal, they are more likely to buy into your vision, and they are more likely to stay around. And that is ultimately what we want. So after you've heard their feedback about how they're feeling in their role, what their goals are, etc., it's time to go through the feedback forum template and talk about the scores that your team member gave and that you gave. And the ones that you should discuss is where there's a marked difference between their score and your score. So if they've scored themselves a 5 out of 5 for attention to detail, but you're giving them a 2, then you may want to discuss the certain situations or scenarios that you're recalling where you believe they didn't have attention to detail. And you go through any major differences, and then when you come to the end of your feedback forum, what you want to gain is an action plan for that team member to make any corrective action that is necessary in order for them to progress in their role. You need to get buy-in from that team member, and as you'll see in the feedback forum template that we're going to share with you, you need to have them agree that that is the course of action. So they're the basics of how to conduct an effective feedback forum. Remember, don't call it a performance review. That just brings up feelings of fear and anxiety, and that's not what we want. We want your team member to be able to come to you and speak freely and to be able to dream a little in these sessions with you. So, really concentrate on what their goals are and for you to be able to work with them to construct a pathway for them to achieve their goals. Feedback forums are not about going to town on your team member, even if the feedback forum is as a result of conduct that you don't believe fits your culture. We still follow this same process. So how do you think you're going? Have we seen the best of you yet? And then of course, if they say yes, but you have a situation in mind where there was gross misconduct happened, or eventually you're actually going to have to dismiss this team member, you bring that up, but you bring it up in the same calm and centered fashion. So it's performance management that you would then need to take that team member down that pathway. So we can use a feedback forum for, just the quarterly catch-up, or we can bring one in because an incident has occurred and it warrants performance management. We would do a feedback forum then as well. So I hope you found those tips about how to conduct a feedback forum effectively. I hope you found them helpful. Here's the link below the video for you to go and download your very own template. Make sure that you make your own copy, put your logo in there and any other details that you need so that it's identifiable for your business. and start implementing the feedback forum process. Make sure you join us next week for our next training.